Department of Transportation and Development Secretary Dr. Shawn Wilson. Okay, Erin's waving. You noticed that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm waving.
You look toward me, but you can see her waving frantically. Your peripheral vision is awesome.
We'll get to the birds in a minute.
All right.
I'm at a home a few weeks ago with my girls playing bunco in North Bossier.
Yep.
And I got to thinking, oh my goodness, how nice it would be if everybody in North Bossier could jump on 220 and head south on I-49.
Yep.
If you're going to Baton Rouge or Lafayette or New Orleans or making a trip.
Are you talking about that gap in I-49?
The gap is, I hope you understand deep in your brain and your heart how critical that gap is. I know the debate local rages, but for so many people, that for in the 100 years following me when I'm gone, if we don't do that, we made a huge mistake.
And yet, pardon me, the final decision still is the federal government's, yes?
Well, so the final decision really is the state of Louisiana and how do we pay for it? Because you're talking about a very expensive corridor that's going to shave about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe that long. It might even be less, off of your commute from point A at 220 to 20 right down there. So whether or not you acknowledge or accept the fact that you've got probably the best infrastructure in the state of Louisiana in terms of its mobility, the value of that is very expensive. And I'm not denying the value of the project, so don't get me wrong. I think it's important to build what you said you're going to build and to do it the right way. The interstate started 50-plus years ago, and it's not finished yet. In reality, you've got I-69, you've got Barksdale, you've got Jimmy Davis. You've got a lot of projects that you want in this region that you deserve. You get what you pay for in life, and you pay for what you get in life. And the question is, what is the most important thing that we can do? And this area won't take full advantage of I-49 North until we finish the interstate and make those connections. And because you've got that 15-minute or less detour on either east or west on 220, the reality is we have a hard time paying for what we want.
Can we do Garvey bonds for this type of project?
You can potentially do Garvey bonds. And I say potentially because I think that's going to be a decision that the next or following secretaries will have to make, because you don't want to bond out your future to the point that it's not acceptable. And we have a law in the books here in Louisiana that says I can only use 10% of those dollars, because in reality, those other dollars are going to always be at risk. And so this isn't our first option. Our first choice isn't to bond out our future. Our second and third choice is to figure out how to do that smartly. And I think we've done that with some discipline around what we have. And so we've made the policy decision that Garvey is going to be used on interstates, or Garvey is going to be used on toll projects not to exceed 10% of the project. Now, a future governor could change that, but we're looking at the entire state of Louisiana. And one of the things the governor says is he can't be governor of just one region or one parish. He's the governor of the entire state. And I've got $1 billion project in every region of the state.
The conversation over 49 here between the opposing sides remains, let's say, slightly vitriolic.
It is very vitriolic, and we've met with all of the folks in that corridor. We've met with the advocates and those who are not in favor of the project, and we understand their concerns. I think those are decisions that the local community has to make. Our job is to try and deliver what it is that the community decides it wants. But I also have to tell you, based on the revenue that we have today, I cannot see us paying for that project or I-69 or the rebuilding of I-20 that we absolutely have to do, because it's the original pavement. And I have to do a new bridge in Baton Rouge, a new bridge in Lake Charles,
don't forget our Jimmy Davis Bridge.
You've got Jimmy Davis Bridge. I mean, the reality is that our needs, we've got a wheelbarrow full of needs and a thimble full of money.
If you could hang on, can you hang on one more segment?
I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, and I'm here all day.
To talk bridges.
We can talk bridges.
Can we talk birds?
We can talk birds.
But we've got about 30
How to fry
seconds.
a barn swallow.
But we've got about 30 seconds, and you made a point in your last riff there. And it was Shreveport Bossier, Northwest Louisiana, has the finest infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Trust me on this. People hear you say that, and they start screaming at the radio.
They do.
And yet, I know every time we will have a politician from South Louisiana, I know people from South Louisiana, from Lafayette area, etc., and they come up here to visit, and they say, your roads up here are awesome. Meanwhile, we're going,
True.
have you lost your mind? Give me 30
Go
seconds.
sit in traffic.
In Baton Rouge.
She
In Baton
says that
Rouge.
all the time,
Oh, Baton
too.
I mean,
Rouge
it's the reality. It's
dreadful.
local. It is local. You have to think about. I haven't been in congestion on the interstates in Shreveport since I've been coming, and that's a reality. I've done it in Lafayette. I've done it in Lake Charles. I've done it in Baton Rouge. Certainly, I've done it in New Orleans. You've got a network here that allows folks to diffuse themselves in a very efficient way. And there's you can't deny that because this community planned their work and worked their plan. It didn't change when the mayor changed. It didn't change when the governor changed. It was, here is the plan 30 years ago, and this is what we're going to build. And that's what we have to do. And that's what we've done in this administration is we've funded projects. The governor's been very clear, fund the projects we've said we wanted. Let's not go and create new issues. Let's not go create a project to just fund it. I think that's the way government is supposed to run.